Hi everyone, I'm Pratibha Agarwal. I am an immigration attorney and I'm so excited to be here with you today. So our question for the day, actually let me back up. We are taking immigration application. We're taking immigration applications. Obviously we work on them, but we're taking questions here live. I'm an attorney. I'm here to answer your questions live. And I work on all types of immigration cases, employment-based, humanitarian cases, families and individuals. So feel free to put your questions on here and I'm happy to answer it. I wanted to start off with our question of the day, which is, will my spouse get in trouble if I file a VAWA application? Okay, again, that's, will my spouse get in trouble if I file a VAWA self-petition for a green card? The answer is no, absolutely not. In fact, this application is highly confidential. It's under seal. In fact, you can't even call USCIS and ask about your application. It has to be done all through correspondence. And if you're not listed on the application, no one will ever reveal any information about that application. Okay, so essentially your spouse does not even know that you filed a VAWA application. So yes, your spouse is completely left out of it and it's 100% confidential and they will not get in trouble if you apply for a VAWA self-petition. You can talk to us if you want. If you're interested, you can reach us at 703-348-1663. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Yathan. Nice to see you. Yathan says, how are you? I'm doing fine. You have a question here. He says, after you get a green card, how many years do you have to wait until you apply for citizenship? That's a really good question. The question again is how many years after you get a green card do you have to wait to apply for citizenship? So for most categories, for most people who obtain a green card, you have to be a green card holder for 5 years before you can apply for citizenship. However, if your spouse is a US citizen, you only have to be a green card holder for 3 years before you can apply for citizenship. Okay, so if we can help you with your green card application or your citizenship application, call our office. We're at 703-348-1663. There are some other things that you should remember also in terms of applying for citizenship. Okay, if you want to apply for citizenship, there are a few other requirements. It's not just how long you're a green card holder, right? It's not just based on how long you're a green card holder. One thing is that you have to live at least for 3 months in the area where you are applying for citizenship. So you can't just move and apply immediately. You have to live in that locale for a little bit. So if you move within that same locale, that might be okay. But if you move to a whole different state, you want to live there for a little bit of time before you apply for citizenship. Another thing is you have to be physically present in the country for half of the residency requirement. So for example, if you're married to a US citizen and you only have to be a green card holder for 3 years before you apply for citizenship, you have to have lived in the US for 1.5 years of those 3 years in order to qualify. So there's a number of other requirements in order to be able to apply for and receive your citizenship. So you want to make sure you qualify before you apply, because if you get denied, you lose your fee, right? You lose your fee. So it might be best for you to have a consultation to make sure that you qualify before you apply for citizenship. Okay, if you want to call our office, we are at 703-348-1663. We're open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, and we will we can help you schedule a consultation by phone, by Zoom, or in person. I have some folks coming in tomorrow in person, although most of my consultations these days are done by Zoom or by phone. All right, if you want to call us, I'd be happy to chat with you about what you might qualify for. All right, another question that I'm seeing here, Majhawal is always talking about my dog, who is not here right now, but I am glad that you remember my dog as much as you do. It was actually her birthday, and she turned 5 years old on the 7th, 2 days ago. So yeah, no, my dog cannot give a consultation, but I can give you a consultation if you would like. You can call our office at 703-348-1663. Okay, another question is, I entered with somebody else's passport. Can I still qualify for a green card? All right, I entered with someone else's passport. Can I still qualify for a green card? Okay, well, it is possible, right? It is possible. So if you're married to a US citizen or a green card holder, you might still be eligible to process that whole green card application in the US if you have abuse in your marriage. And that's not physical abuse, it could be verbal, emotional, psychological abuse. If you have that, you might be eligible to apply for a green card on your own. And what you would do is you would receive work authorization in about 6 to 8 months, and you would receive a green card in about 2 to 2.5 years. And your illegal entry, let's say you entered, you crossed the border illegally, or you use someone else's documentation, you could still be eligible for this type of humanitarian method to apply for and receive your green card. Okay, call us for a consultation. We're at 703-348-1663. We will go through the full process with you on how to apply and what basically the timeline would look like for you. We can go through the whole thing, and I'd be happy to chat with you more about your specific concerns if this is something you might want to consider. So essentially, if you had an illegal entry, you can apply for a green card and process the full thing in the United States. You would not have to leave in every case, right? You would not have to leave sometimes. Call us and we can walk you through the process. We can see if you qualify to process that green card fully in the US, even if you had an illegal entry. Okay, you can reach us for a consultation at 703-348-1663. Chicago, USA is saying, can I expedite an I-601A? And how long does it take for an expedited application? So an I-601A is for somebody that is basically had an illegal entry. For the most of the time, they have had an illegal entry, and they are married to a U.S. citizen. Many times they're married to a U.S. citizen, and they are trying to process their green card, right? So an I-601A is basically permission for them to leave the United States and finish the processing of their green card abroad. It takes a long time because it essentially is a 3-step process. So initially you apply for that green card here in the US. You basically show that you're married. It's a real marriage, not just for immigration purposes, and that the person that's sponsoring you is either a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. So that happens here in the U.S., and that will get approved usually in about 9 months or so. Okay. After that happens, you essentially request the government to agree to let you leave the country and come back in. So this is if you've had an illegal entry or if you've been out of status for a long time, you might have to leave the country and come back in. Okay. So most of the time it's if you've had an illegal entry. So you're asking the government for permission to let you back in. So that is what this I-601 waiver is. All right. And that takes a long time to process, and you have to show that your spouse would suffer extreme hardship if you were deported, and that there's no way for you to relocate to your home country with your spouse, that they would suffer extreme hardship in sort of all of these different scenarios. All right, then you get permission, then you go abroad, you apply for your green card at the embassy abroad, and hopefully get it and come back into the country with your waiver. That's what an I-601A is. However, you can't expedite it. There's no way to expedite it because you can't pay extra to have your application expedited. The only applications that can be expedited are essentially employment-based applications. So usually like an H-1B application, for example, or like a green card application that is part of the employment-based process. Those could be expedited. You can pay extra and expedite them. But for the most part, family-based applications and these kinds of humanitarian options or waivers like you're talking about, they cannot be expedited. All right, if you want to call our office, we can talk you through it, provide some more information about your situation to see if there is a way for your application to move a little bit faster. Okay, you can reach us at 703-348-1663. I'm having consultations by phone, in person, and by Zoom, but most of the time by Zoom, because many of our clients are not located here in the DC area where I am. All right. Daman says, I got my fingerprints 3 months ago for my green card, but my green card hasn't come yet. What do I do? So it depends on, it usually is going to take more than 3 months after your fingerprints to get your green card, right? You get fingerprinted usually about 5 or 6 months after you apply. But your green card interview, if you have one, depending on the method, if you did employment-based or family-based, if you have an interview, sometimes that's not for at least a year and a half after you apply. So there's quite a bit of time after your fingerprints, after you give your fingerprints, to be able to receive your green card. Okay, but what you can do is check the processing times. You can check them online and see what the processing times are. And you can, if it's outside of normal processing times, you can reach out to the government and they can look into your case. Basically, they can see what's going on and maybe move your case along if it got stuck somewhere. All right. Jerry says, if I have a prima facie VAWA and an appointment for biometrics, do I get a work permit, and how long does it take to get a work permit? Okay, great. So the question is, I have a prima facie determination for my VAWA application. Again, this is for people who are usually married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, and they're victims of abuse, right? And they're applying for a green card on their own without their spouse, and it's based on the abuse, okay? So initially what happens, you get a prima facie determination, which means that that you're protected while the application is being reviewed by the government. That's kind of what it means. All right. So essentially, if you get into like a fight with your spouse and they're threatening deportation, if you have this prima facie determination, you won't be deported while the government is reviewing your application. Okay, so it's kind of like they looked at it, they said you meet all the elements, and it's kind of like, I like to call it a pre-approval before the final approval is given. All right. So the question is, how long does it take to get a work permit? So the prima facie usually is about 3 months after we apply, and the work permit is about 6 to 8 months after we apply. So I would think if you already have your prima facie, you've gone in and given your fingerprints, you should expect work authorization and travel authorization in about maybe 2 months or 3 months maximum. All right, hope that is helpful. TikTok fam says, does USCIS approve an I-131 and an I-765 together? I filled together. Which one will come together? Most of the time, you receive a work authorization card that also serves as your I-131, which is your travel authorization. So it's usually a combined card for both. Okay, and that usually comes about 6 months after we apply for it. All right, Chicago says, thanks for your help. You're welcome. TikTok fam says, has NBC sped up the EB3 process? No, not that I know of. You can always check online to see what they're currently processing, and that will kind of help you get a sense of when yours might come up. All right, Daman says, okay, thank you. You're welcome. And Carlotta, hi Carlotta, nice to see you. Great. Well, I'm glad to be able to, hi Mayo Van. It's great to be able to talk to you and provide you some information on immigration. If you want to learn more about your case, feel free to call our office. We can walk you through the full process and answer any immigration questions you have, because I know immigration is super complicated. It's really hard to understand, and hopefully you can have a consultation and just get some clarity on what you might be eligible for or what's going on with your application if you've already filed it, and if you want our help to file an application. We do that all the time. Obviously, I only practice immigration law. Our firm only practices U.S. immigration law. I'd be happy to help you with any of your immigration matters. Okay, if you want to call us for a consultation, you can reach us at 703-348-1663. And also, I'm live fairly often to call our, so share this post and let your friends know if you think, share this with them if you think that they might have immigration questions. Feel free to share our information. We're at Agarwal Immigration on both Facebook and on TikTok. So you can follow us on TikTok, like us on Facebook, and you'll be notified every time I go live. And of course, we talk so much about people that are in difficult marriages that might qualify for green cards on their own. If you know people in that situation, please let them know not to lose hope, and that there is a way for them to apply for and receive a green card on their own. Work authorization, travel authorization, social security number all usually comes in that package. So call us, share our information with people that might benefit from this. Okay, and of course, me going live and providing general information is free. All right, TikTok fam says, do you do employment-based green cards? Yes, I do. I do all sorts of immigration. I pretty much do everything under immigration law. But yes, we do lots of employment-based immigration, like H-1Bs. We're doing EB-1s, EB-2, which are just EB-3, also employment-based green card options. We're doing O visas. We just filed an E-2 application yesterday for people that are investing in the U.S. In the U.S. economy and are able to get visas based on that. EB-5s. I mean, we would literally pretty much do everything under immigration, both employment-based, family-based, and also humanitarian cases as well. Okay. Anyway, it was nice to see everyone here. I hope you join me again, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.